All right, y'all. Today, I've got a beautiful way for you to play your sequential patterns. You're going to love it. And if you're one of those people telling my friends and neighbors not to play sequential patterns, you need to take a seat and watch this video. Hello, friends and neighbors. Welcome back to the Brownstone. My name is Rich Brown. I hope you're doing very well. I am still dealing with the effects, the after effects of this sickness. But I'm feeling better and better all the time, every day. So I'm glad you're here. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about really making music out of your sequential patterns. And I'm going to take one pattern in particular that I talked about before. I did a lesson all about sixths a little while ago. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it up there and check it out. Come on back and we'll talk a little bit about how to make beautiful melodies out of these patterns. So here's the deal. If I take the interval of a sixth through a C major scale, well, first of all, let's play the C major scale, volume. There's my C major scale. Now what I'm going to do is just play the interval of a sixth, which is just root 6, second to the 7th, 3rd to the 8th, so on and so forth. It's my favorite sequential pattern. I love that exercise. But what I want to do today is bridge that gap between those two notes. It's a pretty wide interval. We've got the root of the scale all the way up to the 6th of the scale. So here's the pattern that I want to do to bridge that gap. We'll do the same thing. We'll play the root to the 6th, and then the 2nd to the 7th, 3rd to the 8th or octave, so on and so forth. But here's what I want to do. When I play that root and go up to the 6th, I want to come down the scale to my next note, which is in this case the 2. So I play the 2 to the 7th, and then I come down the scale until I get to my next note, which would be the 3rd. Right? So I play the 3rd to the octave, 8th, whatever you want to call it, come down the scale to the 4th. And then when I come down the pattern, I can do the same thing in reverse, where I take the highest note here, starting from the higher note of my 6th interval, go down a 6th, and then come up the scale until I get to the next note. Okay, so I went through that exercise a little fast, but there's a reason for that. I just wanted you to hear the pattern being created by the actual exercise. So now I'll break it down. One cool way to understand how any intervallic sort of pattern works is to take note of how the intervals are formed. This is very cool because it'll help you in a huge way. So with respect to the 6th in particular, if I play the root and then I play the 6th, what I get is this pattern where I have my second finger playing the root note, and then I skip a string, and then one fret behind my second finger using my first finger. That's my next note. That's a major 6th, right? So we have a major 6th to start off, and then that pattern repeats itself again. When I get to the 3rd, I've got this pattern. There I play the 3rd, and if I go up the interval of a 6th, I get the octave, and then boom, that's a 6th. In this case, it's a minor 6th. So we only have major 6ths and minor 6ths in this particular exercise, which means we're only dealing with two patterns, this pattern and this pattern. So that second pattern, you can see I'm playing the third with my first finger, and then that next octave or the next interval with my little finger. So remember the shapes. That's the shape of a minor sixth. That's the shape of a major sixth. I can just play the shapes moving up the scale, which sounds really beautiful. Nice, right? If you understand how the shapes work, it's a lot easier for you to understand how the exercise works. Because when I play through, wherever I land, I know exactly where my finger is going to be to catch the next part of the interval. Right? So that's a great way to work through that. Now, here's the other way to play this exercise. As I was playing through, I didn't really have a particular time signature in mind. But since most of the music that we play, is in the time signature of 4/4, then we can start with a definite pattern, a rhythmic pattern, that we can use and play through the entire exercise. But then we can also improvise. We all know how to play in 4/4. We all know what those 4 beats, what that space of time feels like. So then you can try to improvise and come up with your own patterns using the notes of this exercise. So first I'll just start by playing a simple pattern where maybe the first note is extended, and then you'll hear what I'm talking about. Anna 1 is here, set to 90 BPM with beats 1 and 3 turned off. You're just going to hear that backbeat. And that will show you how I'm putting this sort of melodic pattern together. All right? Check it out.
3, 4.
Now I'll start from the highest note and go down, up the scale to the next note. So there you can hear how the pattern is put together, and you can hear how I am ascending and descending on this particular exercise. And I was using one pattern. So when we start to improvise on that groove, we can take the same sequence and maybe come up with our own patterns to make things a lot more melodic. And now when you're playing the exercise, you're actually improvising. You're creating these new melodies based on the information you have already under your fingers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try that exercise again, and this time I'm going to improvise a little bit more and try to fit my sequential patterns within that 4/4 space. All right?
3, 4.
So you can hear how that pattern really lends itself to improvisation. And you can use that in a way that allows for you to be really creative with the exercise so that you're really turning it into music. Now again, the key to remember is the patterns being created by the interval that you're working with. In this particular case, we're working with the interval of a sixth. So just remember the shape of a major sixth, volume. Just remember the shape of a major sixth and a minor sixth. If you can do that, the whole exercise becomes really easy. I hope that all makes sense. My friends and neighbors, hit me up in the comments if you have any questions about anything. If you like this video, do me a huge favor and click like, share it with as many people as you possibly can, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The channel is constantly growing, and I appreciate you all for being here. You can donate to the channel in one of two ways. You can join the channel for a mere $5 a month, or you can use the link in the description box below to donate whatever amount you see fit. All of it really helps me out in a huge way, helps me to bring these videos to you. And as I get better and better physically and get over this madness, there will be more videos on a more regular basis. And that's that. All right, my friends, take that, have fun with it. I hope you have a beautiful day. My name is Rich Brown. Thanks for visiting me here in the Brownstone, and I'll see you in the next video.